Do we have audio now?
See, that one's moving.
That is the question. I was just messing with our audio settings.
Turn that off.
I didn't turn the one off. Is it working? Do we have sound? Sound check, sound check. I know there's a delay that gets to the screen, so we'll see if it works now. Sound is good. Yay, we figured it out. There's too many audio options on this software program. Sorry about that, guys. Hello, Autumn Girl, Acres, and Terry, and Deborah, and Rita. Good evening to everybody. So, as people are arriving, you still have your chef coat on.
I do, because I never took it off. I'm finishing up.
As people are arriving, we will be getting going here. I am a little late on some things. The web page is not updated with the herb of the week, but we could still go through this week's herb of the week because I could show you pictures using this software, which is nice. So, but it has been an insane day. I hope you guys are having a good weekend, but we've been busy. I think day started with noticing, well, earlier I noticed the roof had blown off one of my runs. I have plastic roofing up. Didn't make a video on fixing it. Could have, but we just were running extremely low on time.
Chicken run, not the house.
Yeah, the chicken run, fine. And not the coop itself. The coop is all in one piece, but we've had such wind today that we just have that plastic corrugated roofing that's on an angle over the chicken run, and it completely blew off the silky area. So we had to fix that, which was just busy. Just added to the list of things to do today. So I didn't get the webpage primarily probably because of that. But we also had a video that we had to make that I have to get edited and will be up actually in 2 weeks on Friday the 6th because we are a part of Frugal Family Food on Friday, April 6th. We will be releasing a video as a part of their collaboration, which is why Mike's still in his chef coat because we literally just finished filming that just before starting this live show. Mm-hmm. We were actually eating our dinner that we made, which we're not going to tell you what it is. You have to watch on Friday morning. But we're actually eating our dinner, I think, at 10 to 8, trying to finish it up.
Having a bite at least. Might have more when we finish up.
We might have to have seconds after this.
Got a tasting.
Yep. And excuse me, I'm still got this residual cough from being sick a couple weeks ago. But, yeah, so it's been a busy week. We do have some things going on. It's been kind of chilly in the mornings all week this week. I don't know. Actually, I don't know where some of you guys are. Autumn Girl, where are you at? And what states are you in? We're in Michigan, Southwest Michigan. So if you think in this area we're starting to warm up. Yeah, we are starting to warm up. Getting above freezing during the day. We have perfect maple syrup weather, although the season is ending, I think, now, because some of our trees are slowing down quite a bit.
We're going to probably pull our taps tomorrow.
Yeah. Well,
we're going to do it today, but it was too cold. The sap didn't thaw out. Maybe late, like right now, but it's been giving some, but it's a frozen chunk in the bag.
Yeah. Oh, Autumn Girl Acres, you're in northern Minnesota.
Still cold.
Still cold. You might be in the middle of maple sap tapping time up there. Terry's just south of Indianapolis. You're probably done for that time. You're ahead of us a little bit. But yeah, our trees are definitely slowing down, and we do have one tree that's still running decently, and two that were running very well and are still running low.
We'll pull another 4 gallons of sap, which will yield maybe half a quart of syrup, possibly.
Deborah's in Illinois. Well, that's cool. So we're all in the upper Midwest, basically. All neighbors, almost. So yeah, we'll get some more sap. We're at how much do we have right now?
We have a gallon boiled down, finished.
Yeah, so we'll add a little bit to that.
Well, another maybe a half a quart if we're lucky, or a little under. We should really have 5 quarts because, like we said, we over reduced our first batch, so we lost. Well, we're using it, but it's not.
It's not syrup. It's caramel.
Caramel. So I used some in the bread. I think I mentioned that last week, or maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made bread with it, and it was really good.
Yeah, but not everyone here was here last week, so.
Yeah, made oatmeal bread and replaced some of the maple with the maple caramel.
Scooch over. We have a tight webcam here.
Yeah.
Does black walnut sap change the flavor? We really haven't gotten hardly anything out of our black walnut tree.
So we tapped one, but yeah, I mean, I don't think we've even collected it because it's like maybe a quart in there.
Yeah, well, part of the problem is it's just outside our silky run, and our Gus our goose. I can't talk tonight apparently. Gus is one of our geese. He's the guard goose for the silky flock, and he likes to play with everything. And that walnut tree is just outside their door, so it's in, like, when I opened their door to let them free range a little bit just outside, it's right in the area out there. So he kept pulling the bag off and setting it down on the Beverly farm. Hi there, get the party started. Yes, we are getting going. But our walnut tree, we have not.
So yeah, we don't know if the walnut, how it influences things, because we just really didn't get a yield on it. It's a relatively small walnut.
Yeah, it's our only walnut tree, so we were just experimenting with it. I'm not sure if I'll even tap it next year because I would want to get enough syrup on its own, I think, to try it not mixed with the maple syrup. But, you know, it really didn't yield much, plus Gus dumped the first few days worth because he kept pulling the bag off the tree until I tied it around the tree. Now he can't pull the bag off, but we only have just, you know, a little bit of syrup in that, or sap in that bag. So, but that season is coming to end, which means it's time to get seeds in, which is another thing that I was trying to do today, but didn't get to because of everything else.
For a month.
Well, yeah, where it's it's around this time. So that'll be on the list to do this week, and I'm going to join in a collaboration that Rose, Rose over at Wholesome Roots started on 3 new things that we're going to be planting this year. So that'll be coming up this week. We have I have a lot of things on my editing list. We'll have a final sap video coming out soon as well. I just want to wrap things up with pulling the spiles and the final boil down and canning. So we'll get that pulled together and up here soon as well. So we have a lot on the to-do list, but not a lot done this week.
Yeah, we didn't get any snow. It's been cold. We've had teens and 20s almost every morning for 2 weeks, but we have missed all of the snow in the last 3-4 weeks.
This was the temperature when I woke up about 3 days ago. Insane. 16 degrees in the morning. I'm done with teens. Terry got...
It's a little bit cold for March, but it's all right. It warms up. We're getting 40s and 50s during the day.
Yeah, so we've been really, really dry.
Even high 50s 1 or 2 days.
I know the East Coast has gotten a ton of snow.
Yeah, we need some water.
We actually are starting to dry out quite a bit, so we actually need some liquid. But I'd rather have it as rain at this point, but I think we're actually going to get that tomorrow night. But it was so cold that things were freezing. The waters were freezing outside. For the chickens and the geese, we do have some water bowls that are warm, heated water bowls. But the pools that we've been filling for the geese have been iced over every morning. So this is actually Gus, who's playing in his ice water that morning when it was 16 degrees. I had to break up the ice for him in the morning, and he started playing with the ice in the water. He is a goof. He likes to play with everything in his water. He will put anything in there. Um, but he has been loving his ice baths in the morning. Beverly Farm says, I gave up on lists. They keep getting longer and nothing got finished. Well, I keep making lists and it keeps getting adjusted what the priorities are. We had, I don't know if you were in the room yet, but we had a roof we had plastic corrugated roofing over our runs to try to keep them a little drier so that the chickens can go outside and also keep the snow out in the winter so they could still go outside in the runs. Well, that blew off today because it was so windy. So we had to fix that today. And you got 6 in this past week? 6 inches or 6 degrees?
Guessing 6 inches. But...
Maybe people were talking about snow back there. We have 0 inches of snow, but down in the teens.
Took the plow off at the beginning of the month because we need to use the truck.
Yeah.
I haven't put it back on, so we're hoping it stays off at this point.
Yeah. It'd be nice to be done with the plow. But I know East Coast has been hit hard. We do have another goofy goose picture. Lucky. If you follow us on Instagram, by the way, you'll get these little mini updates as we go. But this is Lucky, our guard goose for the main flock, and giving silly looks like they are 6 inches of snow. Okay.
No.
These geese are definite hams. They have some personality. So Lucky was definitely posing and trying to. It's like he's tries to figure things out. He always looks sideways at you, but he's trying to figure things out when caught in a picture. So I just thought it was funny. Our chicks are doing well. If you go back to some of our videos from January to February, we had chicks we had a broody silky in January, which I set up with chicks, with eggs, I mean, and the eggs hatched in early first or second week of February. So these guys are about 5 or 6 weeks old now, and they are doing really well. They're in a mobile tractor, little nursery tractor. So I've been moving them a little bit onto fresh grass so they can learn how to forage. And the Silky Mom's not in this picture, but she's been definitely showing them what they can eat. Of course, there's not a lot of grass because it's still kind of dormant, but we do find little patches. So they've been enjoying themselves. But that's basically it. Oh, and we will have another video. I do have another video coming. Oh my gosh, I have so many to edit. But we have a new addition to our flock as of yesterday. So I don't have a picture of him, but the Silky flock will have a new addition. So that video will come out soon as well, probably this week. So I'll probably have 2 or 3 videos coming this week. And then we have one that's set to come for the week after, which is a part of the Frugal Family Food collaboration. So we're April 6th. Other things, we do a herb of the week every week. And so those of you guys interested in herb of the week, I unfortunately did not get it on the webpage yet, but I will update the webpage. But the herb of the week this week is something that's growing in Michigan at this moment and can be harvested, it's still small, but you can still harvest it here soon. And I'll post it up here. I wonder if anyone recognizes, if any of you guys do foraging, do you recognize this little plant? Not the big leaves behind it, because it's growing in our garden, and we do have spinach growing. And this little, what most people consider a weed, is growing around our spinach. But this is a very edible weed, and it's actually pretty tasty, mild, sweet.
Tastes kind of like corn shoots.
Anybody have any ideas? Give it a second. Yep. So I'm just trying to see if anybody will answer. If you don't know, put a question mark. I will go through it. I just know there's a little bit of a lag, so I'm waiting for the chat to catch up with my question. Anybody? 5, 4, 3. Is that legal here?
I think so, but it grows. It just
grows everywhere.
We're not responsible for it. It just grows in the yard.
This is not a weed that you would smoke. Yes, chickweed. No, it's not purslane.
It looks purslane's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And if you blow it up, it doesn't look greatly different. Although purslane's really a late summer
And
explosion.
It's got a little more rounded leaves
Yeah.
to it and thicker leaves to it. But this is chickweed, growing among our spinach in our garden. There are some telltales of chickweed. So if you look at it, there are a couple different types of chickweed too, by the way. So basically, yeah, okay, it would be hard to see on a cell phone because this is a tiny plant. The big leaves behind it are the spinach leaves. These leaves on this plant are probably only about a centimeter long and pointy. If you look closely at the stem, so what I'll do is I'll put some pictures on the Herb of the Week on my webpage. So if you want to bookmark the webpage, it's listed in the description below, but I'm a little behind on that. So I'll put these pictures on there so you can zoom in on it. But if you look closely at the stem, there are actually hairs that grow up the side of the stem, but it's only one row of hair for each section. And then for the next section between the next two sets of leaves, the row of hairs will switch sides. So it's kind of interesting that way. That's kind of the telltale sign that it's chickweed, is that it's just one little tiny row of hairs up each section of that stem. And the leaves are a little pointier. Yeah, Herb of the Week is chickweed. It's right there in the title. Didn't I give that one away? So this one is the Herb of the Week, chickweed. It is very edible. It's actually quite sweet. It's good in salads, and I do know some people put it in soups. It's very high in vitamin C. So it's a great end of the winter or early spring first crop of things you can forage. Another interesting thing, when you pull and I'll try to get another picture up. When you pull the stem, lengthwise, if you hold the two ends of the stem and you pull it, it's kind of stretchy. And then the outer part, there's an outer skin and an inner stem. And when you pull it, the outer one will fall apart first, and the inner one will still hold together. So I'm not sure if you can see that in this picture very well, but the outer part just, when you stretch it out, it'll eventually shred, but the inner part still has a string connecting things that's very stretchy. So it's another way you could tell it is chickweed. But that is very good to eat. It does have some medicinal properties. I've not looked them up. I will put them on the webpage as far as what some of the books have listed, but I don't have a whole lot of time to do the research. I was doing some PubMed searches. Terry, have enjoyed watching the foraging vlogs. Well, I'm glad I could show you. Yeah, I do have a lot of videos on foraging.
Foraging is just really about to get going here. We're just scraping the bottom, getting the first things to pop up.
Yep.
Ramps were first spotted in our area in the last week.
We have some growing.
And there's just our foraging friend has.
There's some ramps.
A little bit of stuff. She just came back into town after being gone, and so things are coming alive.
So I will show ramps in 2 weeks. We're going to be off next week, because next week is, of course, Easter. And but when we come back, we might have some pictures of bigger ramps. They're just starting to pop up here. We planted some of the wild ramps that our forager would forage. She gave us some bulbs to plant, so we planted them. Unfortunately, we don't have very wet property, so they really do in the wet kind of near lakes and stuff. But what we did was we have some eaves that don't have any gutters by them, so we planted them along under where all our rain runoff would be, so hoping they would grow there fairly well. But yeah, so I'll do more on that one in 2 weeks, and I'll get you some more pictures on it, and as they grow a little bit bigger, because they're really just popping up now. Hi, Finite World. How are you? Um, so yeah, we went through the herb of the week pretty fast this time, but
Ramps, basically, you find them in the wild. They're pretty prevalent. Depending on what part of the country, they've either
yeah,
well underway or just starting, except for in the way north. But the best time to plant them is actually spot where they are and hang on till mid-late summer. Well, midsummer. Pull them up when they're a mature bulb. It'll be easier, and then transplant them then.
yeah, yeah. So that's what
Eat them now, transplant them later. Just save some, know where they're at.
actually.
To them.
I think we got these from Nobby, our foraging guide, in
July or
no,
August?
it was like September or something. It was early fall,
That's
late
true.
summer.
Yeah.
And she knew where they were, so
Everybody's forgotten about them. They're too big to eat at that point.
Yeah. So she pulled up a bunch of bulbs for us and said, "Here, go plant them. You'll find a place to plant them." She's all about transplanting wild plants. They were already in seed actually when we were planting them, so we planted them right around there.
They probably grow in Virginia.
I'm guessing they probably do. They
like
cold.
They like cooler areas, so you may be
It might be in the winter.
They could go through the gap pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they might.
I'd
They
have to
work
look up-
across the country, so late winter from Washington State and Oregon and that area, and then they'll work up through. I'm pretty sure Virginia has them.
Yeah.
But it might be February when they start. And they'll run for 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how fast you heat up, because the bulb continues to be good, but the shoot and the leaf is only good for a period of time, and as it matures out, you kind of stop eating it. People forget about them, and then that's why you go get them after they forget about them.
Yeah. But they do like wet areas, so...
Yes.
That is one of our challenges. I'm so happy to see these coming up because really we don't have any wet areas on property. So our wettest area is with the water runoff from our roof. So, and it's been dry the last couple of weeks, although before that we did have enough snow this year, so we might have some decent moisture in the ground.
Yeah, and there's we did leaf packet in there, but if we don't get some water in there soon, we need to let them go for a few months. They may hang in through the summer, but we got to give them a good start. And then we have some over by our woodshed.
Yeah.
We have a corrugated aluminum woodshed that pours all the water off one side, and that's on the edge of a dimly lit forest area with a ton of leaf mulch. So that's probably even better place, and I think they'll do pretty well there.
So we'll see how they do. We're not going to pick them this year. We're going to let them establish themselves, and then we'll have them for next year to harvest. So we'll have to probably purchase them from our harvesting guide, but that's all right.
Or we'll have to go out and find them.
Or we'll have to go on one of her forages.
Yeah, it's not that hard to find ramps in this area. They're heavily prevalent through Michigan. So.
Now, I'll get into it a little bit, but there are some plants that look very similar when they're young. So I'm going to actually have one in our backyard that is not native. It's a cultivated plant, but someone planted it in our forest. And I'm going to see if I could get some pictures of that so I could show some differences. So I'm going to work on that over the next week or two so that when we come back in 2 weeks, that we could go through the ramps and how they're different from some of these other plants. Because you really don't want to get them mixed up with the poisonous ones.
Yeah, they're generally pretty easy to, we'll get to it, but you see that pink sheath coming off, that pink to purple is one good clue, as well as that they smell oniony or garlicky is another really helpful clue. If it doesn't smell oniony, don't worry about it. It's not a ramp.
And by the way, if we're going back to chickweed, the chickweed, if I go back to the picture here, it grows all over the United States, Canada. It does like colder temperatures, so it's probably
a spring item
here.
It'll go for quite a while. It'll mature in a good part of the season.
Yeah, it's probably a winter item in the south.
Yeah.
It does die back when it gets to the hottest point of the season.
Which is when the purslane goes crazy.
Yeah, the purslane comes up when the chickweed dies out, basically. Yeah. But it is not native to the U.S. It is introduced, and it's definitely taken over everywhere, and it likes to grow in gardens.
It doesn't grow in our chicken coop.
It does not grow in our chicken coop because it's named chickweed for a reason. The chickens love the stuff. So if you do have chickens and you want to clear out your gardens from some of these edible weeds, you could just, if you have a chicken tractor, you can move them into your garden temporarily in early spring, which we will be doing probably in the next week or two.
Yeah, they pretty well cleaned out the weeds in the fall. We'll have a little bit of upshoot that's not there yet. But they'll probably get in there and get some of the grubs and bugs out, even if there isn't a lot of forage to get out of there.
Another reason, I mean, we do that is they do help get the bugs out that we don't want in the grubs. But we do have a little bit of a new section that has grass right now.
That's true.
And they will, especially the geese, they're lawnmowers, they will chomp up that grass. We want to convert that into garden, so they will actually help us do that quite a bit. They'll scratch and till the soil a little bit for us. The geese and the chickens will eat up all the grass, the geese especially. So we'll have them prepping that area here probably in the next couple weeks. I did want it to be consistently in like the upper 20s and higher before I switched them into our tractor.
Well, we'd like the grass to take off for a week or so and actually get some growth.
Yes,
so
that too.
We got so beat up with 8 weeks of almost no rain, which is just
last year.
Very, very long period for us, that moving the chickens around, they ate almost all the grasses, and it didn't really recover in the fall, which is strange.
Yeah.
So we've kind of maxed out a lot of our grazing area with our small number of chickens. But I don't think that we're over chickened. I think we just had a very extreme dry year, and it's going to pop back. I'm going to seed a little bit of the area or put some legume seed in and just supplement where we might have over foraged because of the dryness.
Yeah. So we do have, but we do need to get them in. We could get them into the garden before we put them on the grass.
Yeah, we can get in the garden anytime.
So we're going to be adjusting our gardens a little bit, probably in the next week or two. Start working on that. And 1870s Homestead, hello.
Maybe they have some ramps.
I don't
Start
know.
looking for ramps.
Yes. 1870s Homestead.
Little ones hiding under leaves.
That's not the herb of the week this week. That'll be our herb of the week in 2 weeks. But yes, you can start looking for ramps. You're in just down the road from us. No, not really. You're across the state from us. But basically, southern Michigan. So yes, and Sutton's Days. Oh my gosh, hello you guys. And Christy too. So sorry I missed you. You came in second of that group. So still in.
Yeah, we were shooting a video.
No, it's archive.
That finished up about 10 minutes before Cindy had to get going with this.
Yeah.
We were shooting a video for 2 weeks from now for
Frugal Family
Frugal
Food.
Family, and it just was pushing the time a little bit on the final.
Yeah, I think dinner was ready at like 7:45.
We were being frugal. We were using the video to make dinner.
We did use the video to make dinner. So you guys will have to be on the lookout for that one. It'll come out on April 6th. Amanda has already announced that next month is Chicken Month. So the theme of the whole month is doing things with chicken. So I'll give you that clue, but we're not going to tell you what we made for dinner because that video will be out at 6 a.m. on Friday the 6th. I believe that's the 6th anyway. So, yes, you should be on the lookout for that one. So we filmed that one.
What's on the menu? We don't have any Easter plans yet.
Oh, boy.
Nothing at all.
Don't lead me that way.
I don't think we're going anywhere that I'm aware of, and I don't think anybody's coming here.
We haven't really made any plans for Easter yet.
Yeah, and I don't have any particular plans. I'll be doing the market on Saturday as usual, and then I think my dad's coming the following day, at some point.
All right. Yep.
So it'll probably be kind of a down day to regroup, and I'm sure we'll cook and eat something, but we don't have any big feast. Which is
so unusual for Easter. Usually you're working on Easter.
This might be the first Easter in a long time because I was saying the last couple of years as we moved here and I had some little gaps in traditional restaurant work and things. I got a few holidays where I didn't have to work, but 2 years ago, so I moved May 1st 2 years ago back to Michigan. which meant my last major holiday event was Easter brunch in New York. So I did 450 people for Easter brunch. Then took a little bit of time off to get things settled here. And we jumped into a restaurant. So last year I did 200 some people for an Easter brunch at the restaurant. And we didn't serve lunch or breakfast or anything there. So you want to talk about turning an Italian restaurant into an American Easter buffet early in the morning after we cooked dinner the night before, and how difficult it is to get a crew that isn't used to cooking breakfast and get them in ready to go and set everything up. It was easy for me. I mean, I've done it so many times. That wasn't the big deal. So we did a nice. So this year might be my first Easter home since like maybe culinary school. So.
Yeah, because you've been working country clubs, and country clubs, that's like one of the biggest days.
It's a 15-hour day, and there's usually some event the day before. I mean, that's a 36-hour weekend, and 3 days, and then you go crash Sunday night. It's kind of getting the season going, so there's new staff or short staff, and students aren't there, and again, you're doing 450, 500 people, and it's... So that's the start of chaos, typically.
Oh, and that's Todd on there from that 1870s homestead.
Oh, is it?
Yes. So I saw your goat fort video, which was awesome. By the way, I really liked that one. I'd seen people put together the wood pieces that way. Well, I've seen them put together that way before, but I haven't seen how it's done. So it's kind of cool. Taking the I forget what you call that technique, but it's basically where you notch out the woods and you put it together like log cabin style. But that looks so easy to do. It was like, I might take that idea and put it towards some chicken coops. I'm not sure, because we do tractor coops all the time here.
Yeah, I never really mind cooking holidays. Obviously, I'd rather not be, but they're pretty big deals. I've done a really good job with doing monster, very fancy buffets and making sure that they actually taste good instead of they just look like a pile of lots and lots of food. So I don't really mind it, and they generally are very successful, but they are highly stressful and unpredictable. But I can tell you get totally underappreciated. You work 36, 48 hours, you go nuts, you probably have to go back into work right after, the next week, and people are like, oh, that was great, everything was great, and it's your job, and you go away. It's like, I just did some monumental task along with everybody else, and so it is exhausting, and I would say relatively underappreciated. The only holiday I don't like working is Christmas Eve. I've never worked a Christmas Day, but I have been places that I was kind of forced into working Christmas Eve. And for our family, that's kind of as big as Christmas Day. And I'll work every other holiday. I don't care. But Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, I would like to be left alone on those 2 days.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So.
Yep. Cross lap joints. That's the name of the joints.
Oh, yeah.
Put together.
Yep.
That was cool. So anybody interested in making a really easy mobile living quarters for almost any type of animal, that was a real fast job. Or it looked fast anyway. I know you said it took longer than expected. Our only video this week, unfortunately, our only video this week was just the one, but it was a big thank you to the Rhodes family. I got that out earlier this week. I got footage for 3 more videos, going to be 4 more videos by tomorrow night to come, so I'll definitely be putting more and more out this week. He likes family style better than buffets.
Yeah, I did Thanksgiving family style a lot of places. So that's...
Oh, hi, Jeff. From Bubblehead Homestead. Hello. Yeah, you worked holidays in the hotel business. Bonus pay was nice. Well, you didn't get too much bonus pay.
No, it was part of my job because I almost always was...
It was like contracted in.
Yeah, I was always management or leading a part of a department or the sous chef, so it was just part of my job.
Yeah.
It was just but if it wasn't done right, it was definitely, we would hear about it.
And Harmony Homestead, hello from Oregon. Cool. I have family out that direction. I haven't seen it in a while. But...
You got any mushrooms in Oregon yet? No mushrooms here.
No, it's too early here.
They're way ahead usually. They're probably on to ramps already. On to morels already.
Maybe. It's still March, though. But okay, just trying to see. Yes, for those of you guys who just joined in, we have a second round of people. Yes, he's overdressed for a reason. He was probably overdressed for a Frugal Family Food video.
Yeah, but we figured.
But it was fun.
Anyway. We were doing kind of fancier stuff on a frugal. We're showing how to make something that would be really fancy in the city, but it's really country food.
Yeah.
And so I figured I'd put on a coat and whatever.
Play it up. No, it was good. It was a good video. So that'll be coming out, again, for those of you who weren't here for it, that will be coming out April 6th. So it's too cold for what? It's been too cold here. Oh my gosh, it's been down in the teens, Noah's Ark. I don't know about you guys, but I've been waking up in the morning all week to teens when it was supposed to be in the 20s.
Yeah, pretty cold for March. Not out of question, but to have almost every day in the teens or the 20s for the last 2 or 3 weeks, even though it gets warmer during the day, a little warmer, I'd say it's a pretty cold March.
Yeah.
We'd expect a little bit of a break by now.
Yeah, I'd expect in the 20s, but I'm done with the teens. In fact, actually, I've already run through some of my pictures, but just because we have so many people joining in, yeah, this was the other morning. 16.
Although my friend in Detroit area, or outside of Detroit, had something that said the low for the day was supposed to be 16 and the high was 40, and then it showed the current temperature as minus 45.
Yeah, okay.
So
that's a messed up app.
So,
it was not negative 45.
She goes, wow, it's cold this morning. Look at this.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, but guess what? The geese don't care. That's Gus.
Some mornings he plops on top of the pool and there's almost a half-inch of ice from overnight, and he sits on there kind of waggling around, and he can't break through the ice, so you go over, he squawks and goes crazy because I come close to him, and then he hops off of it, we break the ice for him, and he jumps in.
Yeah. Well, didn't we have some 70-degree weather?
It was much warmer last year.
Yeah,
it was almost too warm.
Yeah, that was unusual.
Yep.
And
has the Rose video posted already?
Yeah, that posted.
Oh, that's right. I watched it. Yeah. I forgot. That was one of the videos I actually watched.
He hardly ever watches the videos I put together.
No,
he's a part of them sometimes. But
I very rarely watch them.
Yeah. Thank you. Is that still Todd? Thank you. That was a fun one to put together. I didn't even think of grabbing some of Justin's video clips. I just grabbed some of our own from when he was here for that, but it worked.
Todd was probably in a shot, I think, in that video.
May have been.
I think they were in a...
I don't know. Were you in some of the clips, or...
I think they might have been in a clip when they were in... Yeah.
I don't know. When we were in the circle, maybe.
Yeah.
But, yeah. We did mention you guys, though. We mentioned a few people, actually. A few of the Michigan channels. Because, and I should bring up, and I didn't put this picture on there. I'll actually see if I can pull it up on... No, I'll just talk about it. For those... Sorry. Can't figure out what I'm doing. Now, for those of you who are near Michigan or in Michigan, there is going to be a get-together on July 28th. It's the Michigan YouTube Homestead Hootenanny.
Well, anybody who's subscribed to our channel should be there. They got to get dedicated.
We have subscribers from Australia.
What's a big deal? Or Oregon, Australia, it's fine. Yeah, you can come for an afternoon in Michigan.
Jackie,
just make sure you bring something to pass. We're pretty big on
potluck.
On potlucks. If you don't have anything good, don't come.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh, boy. And there'll be 3 times as much food as anybody can eat anyway. So
yeah,
like everywhere in the country.
Yeah. So yes. Yeah, I'm guessing Jackie from Australia. Jackie often watches this from Australia. She's not in here today.
Well, she's invited.
She's invited, but I'm not sure if she'll make it from Australia. That'd be a long trip for Hootenanny. But definitely any of our viewers are welcome to come. Anybody who's going to be in the area or who lives within driving distance.
It's family friendly. There is overnight camping.
2 families coming. The Buckeyes are coming. Uh-oh. No. Well, at least Michigan's doing well in basketball.
That's true. Yeah, we are getting the Ohio invasion, aren't we?
Yeah.
Just got to step lightly when you're in Michigan. That's all.
Yeah. You got too many.
We venture into Ohio too.
Oh, I was there. I was there for a conference this last fall.
Got barraged
in
by
Columbus.
red.
Our genetic counseling conference was in Columbus this year, and how much red was in that whole conference. But the funny thing is, there were so many speakers who were genetic counselors from the University of Michigan speaking at that conference that they kept, it was going back and forth between like Buckeyes and Wolverines back and forth because you had so many, like all of the colors scheme was for all the talks was blue. So of course every Michigan person had to point that out because it wasn't red. But
well, I don't know. I think college politics is fairly hard fought around here because we're on the west side of the state, which means there are University of Michigan fans, which we are because we grew up there. However, there's probably more Michigan State fans because that's closer.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame is only about an hour away, so there's a good number of Notre Dame fans, and then of course everybody else. So it's not a uniform allegiance in this area.
And Noah's Ark, I missed something there, but watch out for potholes. Are you talking about when you cross the Michigan border?
Yeah, the potholes are ridiculous. They're going crazy. They're trying to find more tax money. I did see something that they wanted to legalize marijuana to fund potholes, and they were going to call it pot for holes. So I'm posting on the internet for that.
Yeah.
Figured we'd get a lot of them filled with a little extra tax.
I will say, of all the places I lived, the worst potholes were in New York. Out in Brooklyn, when I used to do rotations at different hospitals around New York City.
Yeah, they're
as soon as you
bad.
crossed over into Brooklyn, you go under these dark bridges, and you can't even see the road because you went from bright sunlight to this dark area, and there'd be a huge pothole that everyone's.
They're not just rim benders; they're axle breakers.
Yes.
Because the roads are so busy and so tight and old that they have a hard time shutting them down to repair them, and the trucks shoot under in the same area and warp the roads going over the same section. But yeah, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, there's areas that are just constantly under construction, and they're like a war zone on the roads.
Yeah.
But Detroit's about as bad.
I haven't seen, Jeff, your most recent. I've seen up through adding, I think, the door to your coop. So I'm assuming I'm missing probably a couple of your videos there. Anybody interested in how to start from absolute scratch on a budget should watch Bobblehead Homestead's channel if you aren't already subscribed. But he's putting together a coop for his wild chickens that came with his property. And I probably shouldn't even ask you if you've put your girls in the coop yet, because I'm assuming it's probably done based on the conversation here. But Terry's from Peoria. There you go.
Is that a bobblehead friend or just an incidental Peoria?
I don't know, because they're saying they're from Peoria. I'm guessing they probably didn't know that. Jeff used to be called the Peoria Dude. He has it covered. Yes, I think I saw a picture on Instagram of it covered. I just haven't seen the video yet. So that's cool. He's got a really easy, frugal chicken coop that will be working quite nicely, I think. And it'll be a mobile one as well. So it's a chicken tractor. But
we have a new fun piece. We don't know what we're going to do with it, but we have a egress window that's getting dug out, and it has one of the large corrugated steel, an older steel one, not even aluminum, I think, ground retention barriers for the egress. It's quite large. It's like a half circle.
And it's dug out now.
And we had to have it dug out because we're putting in steps there.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we'll flip it before the contractor takes it. We'll just take that and maybe we'll flip it over into some type of a shelter.
Yeah.
I was over at the local hardware store, Menards, and they want like $200 for them out of fiberglass and aluminum. I'm like, wow, I think we're definitely keeping that.
We're keeping that. It might turn into another chicken tractor. I'm not sure. I might have to turn it.
Might
into
put it
something
on
like
some
that.
boards or something and tractor it.
Because
just a shelter. Could be a shelter.
Yeah,
shelter.
A goose hut. The
hut.
Goose didn't use his old goose hut.
Yeah.
He liked the coop better. He liked to be with his girls. But especially Lucky. Lucky follows around one particular chicken. And maybe for next live show, which won't be next week, it'll be the week after, I'll show you what he does with this chicken when she goes to lay eggs. It's kind of crazy. Harry, they're Hoosiers
Yeah,
now, south of Indianapolis.
That's a nice area. Indianapolis has become a really nice town. Well, I mean, it's always been decent, but over the years they've put a lot of money in, and it's really a nice town.
Yep. Yeah, no, I've actually been there a few times growing up too, because there's a big ice rink and with some competitive coaches, and I grew up figure skating, so I did some summer camps down in Indianapolis at the rink, which they have a cool one that's down halfway below. Well, there's multiple surfaces of the rink, but one is below the ground. And okay, I was skating when we used to do figure eights, so early morning, sun's rising. There's windows on the top little part of this ice rink, and there's a church outside of there. It's right downtown Indianapolis, and you see the sun rise through the windows while on the ice. It was just very pretty. I love that area. But okay, chicken coop is finished. Chickens are in it.
They actually left eggs in the coop today
instead of 3 eggs out of the coop. Yay! Did they actually lay the eggs in those nest boxes? That's the next question, because I did see you put the nest boxes on a chair in the coop. But that is the next question. Well, did they find a corner, because we've been doing Easter egg hunts here?
Yeah, we got some young ones that are putting them all over the place. We're on some record days though. We got 17 eggs a couple times this week.
Yeah, we're getting. I think we had 5 eggs that were green or blue today. So a lot of the young ones are just starting to lay, and they're just starting to lay multicolor eggs.
We got some genetics got snuck in there that we didn't know about.
Exactly, which I don't mind, because guess what I'm going to do this week at work is I'm going to go take 7 dozen eggs to work and sell them as rainbow eggs for Easter.
Yeah, so we're overloaded, and eggs are very competitive around here. I think we can
rainbow eggs might
hold price and move them out. I think people will buy them for sure.
Yeah, so I do think the rainbow color eggs might be helpful. And Jeff, I mentioned it, I don't know if you saw it, but I mentioned a comment, if you need any fertile eggs. I've never tried mailing them before, and they're not purebred. Well, but if you want rainbow eggs, let me know. I could send you rainbow eggs.
The U.S. Mail has a class for sending live chicks and sending eggs.
Eggs, yeah. I just have to figure it out.
Yeah, there's a number. It's assigned. So.
Yeah. So anybody.
I think they send them 2 days on eggs.
I might, but you have to package them very carefully. Terry, going to Illinois for visits is depressing. Hubby is in construction, and they had a best year ever. Okay, so yeah, that 1870s hope egg overload.
12 dozen. Yeah, we've been eating, giving away. We're pretty loaded.
I think we have 6, 7.
You got 7 on the table right now.
Yeah, no, one's not full, but it will be.
Got more in the fridge. We just collected
5 in the fridge. We're probably at about a dozen.
Yeah, we're in that range.
Well.
Yeah.
Get some in the fridge, because I washed the soiled ones. I actually don't sell the soiled ones. I sell them the unwashed ones if I can, and I let them know that. But yeah, 4 dozen. Giving away 4 dozen to the family this week. If I saw the family this weekend, I don't think we're going to be seeing.
We didn't have anybody coming this direction, so.
No, and I did give eggs away last time I went to.
Last time my dad came to visit, we forgot to give him eggs. So we would have given him a whole bunch, like 3 or 4 dozen. We totally forgot when he left.
But I did bring 3 dozen to my family's house. Last time I went to Ann Arbor, but that was a couple weeks ago, and we're up again. We probably do have a dozen eggs. That's crazy. Anyway, so those of you guys who joined in the second half of the show, I'll just go, since we really got to the herb of the week pretty early. Do you guys want me to go back over how to identify chickweed? I do have some pictures in here.
You know, if you could figure out how to make either soap or candles out of eggs, I think homesteaders would never have enough.
True. Too bad they don't work for that.
Not particularly well.
No. Milk, yes. But we don't have any milking animals. But, yeah, we could do deviled eggs. We could do mayonnaise. We've been talking about doing a mayonnaise video. That was on the list but hasn't gotten done yet. Still not ready. Okay. But if you ever want some, let us know because you might have a market for rainbow eggs. Who knows? They're not purebred, but they give lots of colors.
They're blue and they're pink. They look fairly nice.
Blue, pink, brown, and
green, olive green,
and olive. Yeah, so
it's
we
a pretty
definitely
bright
mix.
olive green.
Yeah. But for those of you guys who don't know how to identify chickweed, here you go. I'm going to go back to these pictures. For those of you guys who saw this earlier, I apologize for repeating myself. But this is chickweed. Pickle some eggs. Could do that.
Pickled eggs, yeah, they're pretty good. I like them pickled with red beets, so they turn
red.
Turn red. Yep, I like
That'd
them.
be good for
I
Easter.
know a lot of people don't like pickled beets.
Pickled beets or pickled
pickled eggs,
Yeah.
even more so than pickled beets, but I think they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Haven't had them for a while.
Okay. I'm going to pull us off the egg topic unless you still want to discuss eggs. That's fine with me too. But
I had fluorescent green pickle relish today. Chicago relish on a
yeah.
Chicago dog from a local place.
Yeah, we have a local root beer stand that's
drive-in root beer stand.
Yeah, old-fashioned one that is actually pretty darn good. It's just owned by one family, and they just opened back up for the season, which is they had a number of people there. But anyway, chickweed, yes, it grows everywhere and all over our garden. This is actually growing among our spinach is in the background there, but you can eat it, and it's actually fairly tasty. So you just want to make sure you identify it correctly. And one of the ways to identify it, if you get this on a big screen instead of a cell phone, it would help. But I'll put it on my webpage later tonight or tomorrow. I'm a little late on that part. But if you look at the stem really closely, there's little hairs that grow in a row in between each set of leaves. And for each segment in between each set of leaves, it changes where it's located on the stem. So it's like a little more rotated around. So you can actually identify it because it's the only plant that does that. The leaves themselves are only about 1 centimeter long. They're very tiny. They do have a little white flower with 10 tiny leaves on it. That's the diameter of the flower is probably about 1 centimeter as well. These are too young to see the flower yet. But you can pick these. They will grow fairly thick if you let them go. And you can put them in salads. You can put them in soups. You could probably put them in an omelet. Now I'm seeing Bobblehead Homestead talking about dandelion egg omelet.
You could definitely put them into an omelet.
You could do that
like
with
Asian style, Japanese style omelet.
Yeah.
Yep.
They would be very good there. There are some traditional medicinal properties of it. I haven't looked all that up yet. I'll put it on the webpage.
Mostly vitamin C and some minerals.
It does have high vitamin C, so it's a great coming out of winter plant to eat. I mean, it's abundant. It grows everywhere. There's disturbed soil, and you could definitely pick that one up and make a nice salad out of it. And it's pretty darn tasty too. And it is named chickweed for a reason. Chickens love it. So if you need to clear an area of a garden of it, Jeff, you just move your chicken coop over it and they'll eat it up. But it does grow absolutely everywhere, but it does burn out in the summer. So it is a cool weather plant. So around here, it's really just starting to take off. It'll grow probably into May, maybe a little bit into June, yep. But then it'll start dying back.
Yep. As it gets real hot, as we get into the 80s and up, it'll
So down in the south, it probably grows through the winter, and then probably dies back in the summer when it gets hot. So, but yes, chickweed is everywhere. It is not native to the United States. I believe it's native to Europe and Asia. But at this point, it is all over the world because it tends to move with people. It is all over the United States and Canada, definitely more temperate areas, so cooler areas, not in the tropics, but definitely, I want to say it's probably all over Australia and Asia, and probably down in South America in the southern tip of it or mountain areas. But It is everywhere, and it is edible, and it is tasty. So I will add what I can find on traditional medicinal uses as well.
Yep, dandelions are great. As soon as they start coming up, which is a little after chickweed, and before they get too large and too hot and bitter,
Yeah.
Go crazy. You can pickle them. You can do all kinds of stuff with them. Salad, saute them.
We have a tight camera.
Yeah.
I keep telling him to come back in the camera.
This chair is also a funny chair.
Well, I also had to push the chairs as close together as possible. But yes, dandelions are free for everyone, and we should be getting those probably
Another almost a month. Maybe it depends. As soon as we get warm,
you might see the greens coming up in the next month, but
That's
they won't
fine,
start
though, yeah.
flowering until probably
they're really sweet when they're young.
May.
So.
Yeah, so you can pick dandelion greens.
And then you eat the roots and stuff when they're young, and as they get older, you eat less and less of it.
There is another green that looks very similar to dandelion greens. It's a bitter, very bitter green that Nabi had us taste. It's even more bitter than dandelions. So, but it looks very similar on the leaves, and it is edible. It's just bitter.
Gotta hit it with a lot of oil and vinegar. A lot of vinegar.
The Italians probably
lemon juice.
The Italians probably love it because they love their bitter greens.
Bitter greens.
But yeah, anyway, so that's chickweed. Definitely, that most the number one identifier is to look for that row of tiny hairs that is just single file row up in between each segment of between each set of leaves, and then it changes where it is on the stem between each set of leaves. So it's kind of a cool little plant. The other thing I mentioned earlier is if you actually stretch this plant. So basically, if you hold it end to end and you pull it apart, it is a little stretchy, but then the outer stem actually breaks apart, but there's a inner stem that will still hold together. So if we look at this picture, there's an inner stem right in the middle. It's not the clearest picture, but it's what I got out of my tiny plant so far. But there is an inner stem that is very thin, and the outer stem will break apart when you stretch it, but it is fairly flexible. So, Half Acre Dreams, hello. It is 9 o'clock. We're about to wrap up, but welcome. I have a bunch of new people in here, so I do want to say welcome to the show. We do this generally every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will not be on next Sunday on Easter because I'm guessing most people are going to be kind of busy.
If you guys really want to chat, let us know, but we don't have to find plans yet.
Yeah,
we're just assuming that we're not the priority to that people don't, they have other things that they're doing.
I mean, if you guys just want an informal chat, we can jump on maybe for a minute, but...
Dehydrating dandelions for later. I don't know. Are you doing that?
I have to ask Nabi if... you can dehydrate the flowers and use them for tea.
The flowers you can. Nabi might be, actually. To me, they're so bitter that by the time you dehydrate them, they're probably... I'm not real excited about that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
If there's a good reason for it or use.
So Half Acre Dreams, you could rewatch this if you want to. I've actually gone over chickweed twice already.
Candying dandelion, you can candy any flower. Yep. Absolutely. Violets and all the rest, you sugar it and then crystallize it, and that's quite good. They sell them, they're very, very expensive, actually.
But Half Acre Dreams, just to go back to that, down below in the description of this video, there is a web page linked that I do Herb of the Week. I have not put the chickweed one up yet. That'll probably be up by, I'd say, tomorrow night. I'll try to get it up by tomorrow night. So I'm not sure if I'll have time tonight to do it. If I do, it'll be up tonight, but definitely by tomorrow night. So take a look at the webpage because I'll have the pictures on there. I'll have the descriptions. I'll even put a few things that people have used it traditionally medicinally for that I find. Before, on previous videos, I did a lot of research on medical journals to try to see if there's anything that was backing up some of the traditional uses in more recent research. And I'm probably not going to get that far with this one because that takes a lot of time. But I will put in some of the traditional uses, and then maybe later we can come back to, are there some other medical resources that are looking into those traditional uses, because there are a lot of new studies over the last 10 or 15 years on herbal medicines and how effective some of them are or not. So Christy has violets all over the yard. Another edible plant.
Yep, violets are really nice. They can definitely be used in salads and things. The violet itself gets soaked in, is it sugar water, and then it's basically put into crystallized sugar pressed in there to dehydrate, and it forms a crystal around, or it forms, a sugar coated crystal around it. You get crystallized violets. You can do that with other small flowers, rose petals, things like that. I have some patissier companies that do high-end specialty pastry things. They sell them little packages, and they are really, really expensive.
Yeah.
So
you can make your own.
yeah, I mean, sell them at the farmer's market, or
You
make
could-
your own and impress somebody and stick them on a
You can
dessert
also-
or a cake. It's
one of the other things you could do with all these flowers is put them in honey and store them in honey. And a lot of people will take that and use that, the flower soaked honey on different, different ways they use honey. But so it's another way to kind of candy them in a way.
Yep.
Yeah, you could get a nice picture of your violets, use it as a banner for your YouTube homepage. That's a cool idea.
Feed them to your chickens.
You can feed them to your chickens. The chickens will eat almost everything we will eat. So yes, you can feed them to your chickens if you want.
Chickens will eat things
I don't
we
know
won't
if
even
Christy
eat.
has chickens or
I don't
not,
know.
but yeah. So taking off evening chores. Yes, it is getting dark, and we probably have to close.
Yeah, we gotta put our chickens to bed.
We have to close all the coops up. So good night, that 1870s homestead. So again, if you missed our video tribute to the roads, that was the only one that came up this week. But I will have 3 or 4 coming up in the next week or two, maybe even more, because I have a lot of stuff to edit. So be on the lookout for that. But if you're interested, kind of how the roads have influenced what we're doing around here, take a look at that video that we posted earlier this week. And if you guys are interested in other quick updates on things, you can always check out our Instagram page. There's Part-Time Permies on Instagram, and we do little quick pictures and updates there occasionally as well, just because I do get a lot of people asking how our chicks are doing or how our geese are doing. If you like our stories on Lucky, Lucky has his own playlist, so you can also check that out if you want, from when he hatched all the way through.
He's a goose, not a duck.
He is a goose. Aw, don't be mean. We do have a few people.
A lot of people think he's a duck. He looks like a big duck.
He looks like a
white
giant duck.
It doesn't really matter.
He's an Emden goose, so he's a big white goose. Poor Coco is the one who keeps calling him Lucky Duck, which, okay, Lucky Duck does go together. It's kind of like Donald over at, now at Art and Breeze. Donald was originally the Rhodes goose, but it's Donald Trump because of the way it looks. But a lot of people kept thinking it was a duck too. They would call him Donald Duck. Nope, it's a goose. So they're guard geese of ours, and they are definitely have some personality. So I try to catch it when I can on little recordings. But yeah, we'll definitely be posting a lot more over the next week. I'll work on that. Now that I'm healthy again, other than a minor cough, I will hopefully have more energy to do that. That's part of the reason why I only got one video done last week, was because the week before I was out sick completely. But better, and hopefully you don't catch it.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Noah's Ark parents have a lot of geese. Oh, cool. Yeah, we got ours from our goose eggs that are silkies and hatched from a local goose farm that raises them for meat. So they're not typical guard goose breeds.
Yeah, they're messy.
That's
why we don't have too many. We don't have enough water, and we also don't have enough room, and they're loud and messy. So we couldn't have too many. But
no, but one for
2.
each flock. They do a good job guarding, although they're a little skittish too, which is kind of interesting. It's better than attacking us, but they have, I think, prevented a lot of aerial attacks. I haven't had any aerial attack problems since getting them. I don't think they would hold up to like a coyote or anything.
I don't think so.
Although they would sure make a lot of noise if they were attacked. So they do set off the alarm.
They squawk and they hiss and they do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I do think their hissing is probably a deterrent because the hissing sounds a lot like a snake. So if you get into that coop and you hear hissing, I'm guessing a lot of predators would probably want to turn around and go back out if they're anything wary of any snakes. So I do think that might be one of their deterrents too. That's just a theory. But can we don't have females.
Have goose eggs. We think they're both boys unless one starts popping out eggs.
We haven't gotten any yet, and they probably should. If they're female,
they're both pretty good
start.
size. So yeah, and with the new season, we should be getting them. So they're both boys.
Yeah, and they will eat the garden if you let them in the garden, but we won't let them in the garden except before we plant
They'll
things.
eat everything in the garden.
They like to eat grass. They're good lawn mowers. So yeah, you do have to keep them out of the garden unless you want them to eat all the weeds before you start planting.
They've been in our penned fence area their whole life. So even though they're not clipped, they've never really tried to fly. They don't know that they can fly, although they've hopped over the fence once or twice. But
by accident.
But they really don't understand that they have full ability, and they eat well enough that I think they're a little heavier, so they don't fly. But we keep them corralled in a fenced area.
Yeah, Gus keeps getting excited about swimming and goes running around and crashing. I have a dividing fence between the two flocks and then an electric poultry net around both of them. So he keeps crashing the dividing fence and ending up on the wrong side. But there are some videos on that too. So actually, a few weeks ago, I have one, what did I call it? Crazy Chicks on the Farm, or Crazy Chickens on the Farm, or something like that, from a video from a few weeks ago.
Yeah, geese and ducks would eat corn for sure if you let them in the cornfield. They will eat a lot of that.
Yes, they would. So, no, we keep them all into their own areas, but we do pasture them. So, as soon as it gets warm enough to move my main flock into the chicken tractor, Lucky will go in there with the main flock and get moved around the yard. We got to figure out a way to do that for the silkies. We don't have as many silkies, don't need as big of a space for it. But, I mean, maybe that's what we can use, that scrap piece that we got left over from the construction, to make something tractor related.
So we don't have much of an issue because we move them around, and then our garden areas have either 6-foot fencing, wire fencing, or 10-foot deer fencing. So because we do have a lot of activity, so they can't easily get into our garden areas, although they're all ripped open right now because we're changing stuff around. But once we get them all put back together, it was really to keep the deer out and some of the other pests. Because we do have so many deer, but now it also keeps stray chickens from
getting in there,
eating everything.
Yep. But yeah, we're going to have to reset all of that. So that'll be to come as well as it warms up and we are able to get outside and do more work.
Yeah, get some rain. It's not worth doing anything right now.
Yep.
One, too cold, and too dry.
Yeah, geese are hard to catch, although they run out of energy. So if they're in a confined space, I have caught them a couple times. Picked him up, and especially Gus picked him up and put him over his fence into his area a couple times.
Eventually he gets petrified enough he stops, I think.
Or he gets himself into a corner and then doesn't know where to go.
Doesn't know what to do. Panics.
Yeah, he does panic a little bit. But they are big and they are strong. So now the other part about having that poultry net around them is they don't have a big enough runway to get up into the air. So they really need a good runway to be able to fly. So neither of our geese have had enough space to actually take off.
Yeah, and there's a lot of room, but they're well fed, so
they're well fed.
A little extra room.
They're in love with their chickens, so their flock is their group of chickens. In fact, each one has a chicken that it wants to follow everywhere. So they want to stick with their flock. They would feel very nervous.
Gus if he goes over to the other section accidentally, he spends his whole time just like the chickens trying to get back into his proper section.
And not figuring out how to go back over the fence. Yeah. The fence is like 2.5, 3 feet tall.
Yeah, it's a little fence.
Yeah. Anyway, we should wrap this up because the Aldermans are usually on at 9 and we're kind of cutting into their area, their time frame. But please thumbs up for us. That would be awesome. That helps our videos get shown more. And I'm glad all of you guys could join us tonight. Next week, if we do anything, it'll be completely informal, not a herb of the week. But if you're interested, just shoot a message on this video or any of them saying that you're interested in the chats.
We'll be downloading all of these metrics in detail to figure out all of your gardening activities and analyzing them to levels that you don't even know possible.
Yeah, we're not Facebook. We are not Facebook.
We don't have enough time to do the projects we want, let alone figure out what you should be gardening.
Yeah. So, yes, you guys, everybody have a happy Easter next week. We're probably not going to do a live show unless we do like a quick 15-minute hello.
Somebody shows up, maybe, if we're looking for something to do. But
if we're bored.
Otherwise, it'll be a week off.
Otherwise, I'll probably be editing videos. Mm-hmm. But have a good night. We will see you back in 2 weeks, and we'll be discussing the ramps in more detail. So if you're interested in those, come on back in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, be on the lookout for videos because we're going to be cranking them all out, and we'll be on Frugal Family Food, and we'll probably have about
Hootenanny. Oh, if you're planning on camping at Hootenanny, you need to call them directly at the campsite very soon and start reserving spots for discounts and that there's still room.
Hootenanny is technically from noon till 10 on Saturday, July 28th. It's at a campground. Check out the Pratt Family Homestead. They have a video describing the entire thing on where to go and everything. Or you could check out the Pratt Pack on Facebook, or our Facebook page. It all has the Hootenanny event listed. So please check that out if you're interested in going.
Family friendly, casual. It's a fun time.
Yep.
It's at a Methodist sponsored camp, so
there's no drinking.
No drinking, no bikinis. Behave yourself. But it's just good.
There's a lake. So
good, clean fun. But
there's swimming. There's potluck. If you want to camp, you can. If you don't, that's fine. You could join us for the daytime activity. So come join us. Come up from the south, Bobblehead. You could come up, Jeff, and
it'll be a heat wave by then. You'll want to be up here.
Yeah, right. Come back north. Be a snowbird. So, yeah, anybody who is wanting to come, please come. It'll be a hoot at the Hootenanny. That was lame. Anyway, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a good night, you guys. Take care.
Goodbye.